Well, hello again, and Aníbal, thanks again for being here with me. And we are thrilled to be here with SamouraiWallet that is here to drop some fire about privacy and Bitcoin. But before that, Aníbal will be sharing my screen so we can have a message for our amazing sponsors, letting.io. Check this out.
Javi, check this out, the song.
Okay. Well, sorry, we have a little problem with the audio. Just a moment, please. Yeah. Ahora sí.
USDC. Our products and services like Satoshi in Venezuela is proudly sponsored by Letting.io, a suite of services to help you save and earn more Bitcoin and USDC. Our products and services let you earn interest, get a loan, or buy more Bitcoin. Our savings accounts, in collaboration with Genesis, offer the best risk-adjusted interest rates in the market while working with the largest and most transparent institution in digital assets. You can start earning up to 4.1% annual on your Bitcoin and up to 8.8% annual on your USDC today. Our exclusive B2X service lets you use the Bitcoin you already own to get a dollar loan and buy an equal amount of Bitcoin, which doubles the amount of Bitcoin you own through a Bitcoin-backed loan. And if you need dollars but don't want to sell your Bitcoin, you can maintain ownership of your Bitcoin and get a dollar loan within 24 hours. Much more tax efficient than selling, and you'll get your Bitcoin back once you repay the loan. Check us out and learn more at letting.io.
Yeah, this is a message for Letting.io. We have these technical problems since this the first week we are being sponsored by them. Check their website that will be linked in the description of the video. And well, Samourai, thanks for your patience. And again, thanks for being here. It's a great pleasure since I am a great fan of the project and I'm a user of the wallet. So it's great to talk with you about the project, about you, and also about the privacy that is the main topic that we are discussing in this week of digital connections with people of the Bitcoin community. Thanks again for being here. And in the website of SamouraiWallet, SamouraiWallet.com, we can find this great message. We are privacy activists who have dedicated our life to creating the software that Silicon Valley will never build. The regulators will never allow, and the VCs will never invest in. We build the software that Bitcoin deserves. It's a really powerful message, but can you tell us why you guys started that in your very own website? And thanks for being here again.
Javier, thank you for having me. You've been a user, like you said, for a long time. I know for many years now. And you've been giving feedback and active in Twitter and in the Telegram groups and in spreading the Samurai recognition to the Latin American audience and South American audience. And I want to thank you for that. And that's why I'm very, very happy to be here. I don't do many podcasts. Very rarely do I do podcasts. But for this one, I said absolutely anytime, because you are obviously a great friend for Samurai. So thank you. Thank you. Do you want to translate, or should I continue answering the question now?
Yes, maybe let me to translate this part. Yes. Bueno, SamouraiWallet dice que él está muy contento de estar acá. Sabe que Javier ha sido un usuario desde hace años y Javier ha estado dándole feedback, sugerencias varias veces, en distintas ocasiones, que bueno, es como un representante ahí en Venezuela y en Sudamérica. Siempre ha estado involucrado con la comunidad, en Twitter activo. Y para Samourai es un placer para él estar aquí. Él dice que él no hace muchos podcasts, pero en realidad es un placer estar aquí con Satoshi en Venezuela y con Javier en especial, que tienen ya una pequeña amistad y bueno, que está muy agradecido de que estar aquí con nosotros. Yes, you can continue, Samourai.
Okay. So to answer your question, we have to time travel a little bit. When TDevD and myself started SamouraiWallet. So TDevD, you know him on Twitter as Samurai Dev. He's the lead developer. We started SamouraiWallet in 2015, right at the beginning of 2015. And at that time, the debate was starting to form around towards compliance and towards institutionalization of Bitcoin, meaning large corporations, large financial institutions were starting to get interested. And the two of us had been in Bitcoin before that, and we were more interested in the promises of Bitcoin as a more subversive type of money than a institutional type of money. So and this again, remember, this is 2015. It's laughable right now looking back because it was so early still. In 2020, it's a joke. Like, you know, the subversive aspect of Bitcoin is so small now. Most people have no problem, taking a selfie with their ID and sending it to an exchange to buy some Bitcoin. Whereas before, you wouldn't even think of doing that. It would be crazy. So the reason why we put that on our website front and center was to make a clear stand. We're a different type of company. We're not the type that's going to integrate, a buy option, because that would mean we have to do KYC. And even though that's the easy way, we're not going to do that. And that means we're not going to be able to make as much money. And that means the VC type investors aren't going to want to invest in us anyway. So that's the kind of general concept.
Okay, let's go with that. Okay, voy a traducir aquí algo. Él dice que el 2015 fue que comenzaron a desarrollar SamouraiWallet junto con su amigo, el lead developer, ¿no? El desarrollador principal, que comenzaron y para esa época estaban haciendo el debate alrededor de Bitcoin. 2015 estaba como comenzando el debate acerca de si Bitcoin es un dinero institucional, tipo de dinero. Y bueno, ellos en realidad lo que decidieron fue desarrollar una aplicación donde enfatizan pues las propiedades de Bitcoin, ¿no? La forma de ser dinero, sencillamente dinero con cierta privacidad, ¿no? Y que los usuarios lo pueden poseer sin la necesidad de un intermediario. Él dice que Bitcoin estaba tomando ese camino quizás de un enfoque institucional porque estaban emergiendo muchas plataformas a las cuales usted tiene que hacer un Know Your Customer, proceso de verificación para adquirir Bitcoin. Él dice que ellos no, que ellos por eso pusieron esta declaración, la que leyó Javier, que está en su página, donde ellos dicen que ellos están aquí es para enaltecer Bitcoin como una forma de dinero que todo el mundo puede usar con cierto nivel de privacidad y que no requiere verificación. Ellos dicen que él no está interesado en poner la opción de comprar en la wallet. A él no le interesa eso, que quizás por eso no van a hacer tanto dinero, pero que ellos están es por los principios detrás del proyecto, ¿no? Básicamente eso. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Aníbal. And also, as you have this kind of approach to Bitcoin, I want to know if when you are behind the scenes, when you are building this software, this useful tool, are you thinking in new coiners? Are you thinking in a Bitcoiner with some degree of experience, or are you focusing in a specific segment of users? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's a good question. Honestly, it's not even really Bitcoin users at all. We're making a very specific tool set for users who have a requirement for private money, and that's a very broad range of users with very different experience levels, very different needs and requirements. Some they might hold lots of shit coins. They might only hold Bitcoin. They might have never even heard of Bitcoin yet, and they don't know that it can solve the problems that they have. So it's really all encompassing. We make tools for people we make a product and tools for people who require private money, and for whatever reason. The concept is private money. So it has nothing to do with which coin you like best. And we happen to think that even though, there are privacy coins out there that are specific to accomplishing that goal, we applaud that and encourage any developers to work on what they want to work on and any users to use what they want to use. But we're working on Bitcoin. And we see that as the best, still the best chance to get a widely supported base of private money. Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, that's good. Thank you, Samourai. Okay, esta pregunta es interesantísima, la respuesta más aún. Él dice que en realidad no están enfocados en ningún segmento especial de usuarios. Él dice que lo abarca todo. La prioridad de ellos es proveer una herramienta que puede ayudar a la privacidad, que ayuda a la privacidad de los usuarios, ¿no? Entonces dice que quizás si su segmento el segmento es de los usuarios que quieren tener un dinero privado, que pueden tener shitcoins, altcoins, pueden tener privacy coins, pueden tener monedas de privacidad, pero ellos están desarrollando en base a Bitcoin y la prioridad es abarcar todos aquellos usuarios que quieren y que desean tener una forma de dinero privado. Es el principio de ellos, no están enfocados en ningún diseño. Dice que eso pues abarca todo, es un rango, independientemente si usted tiene shitcoins, altcoin o cualquier otra cosa, ¿no? Perfecto.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. No, I'm here. So as you state, is a privacy focused wallet that is the main the key point of the wallet, and as the project is focused in privacy, can you give us some recommendation for a regular Bitcoiner, the same that you recently described? Can you tell us how to use this tool in a way that we can be private, but also not specifically a technical user? Maybe you can drop some words on this.
Sure. Yeah. So when you build an app and when you build a product, you never want it to be difficult to use, right? You want it to be accessible and easy for people to use. So if there's things that aren't easy to use in Samourai, it's just mostly because we don't have a lot of resources. So we just haven't got around to making it a nice UI yet or something like that. What we do try to do though, everything that we do in the wallet is make the default private, so that a user doesn't have to know what they're doing to achieve the benefits of the tool. So if you're looking for a privacy for dummies guide, it's a little difficult to do that because there's so many different avenues where you could trip up. Most people, they trip up as soon as they get Bitcoin. Like you don't even have to send it off the exchange. As soon as you provide your ID to a third party and they're storing that information, you've screwed up. Because then all it takes is it doesn't even have to be a letter from the judge or the court. It just has to be a letter from some politician somewhere to the company to say, hey, give me this information. And they'll do it because they're not going to fight that on your behalf. They don't want to get shut down by the regulator. They're going to play ball. So you've already messed up no matter what you do from that point. So, what we provide, and this is why we don't have dollars in the wallet or any fiat currency in the wallet, because we want it to be very clear. You're not dealing with fiat currency with SamouraiWallet, you're dealing with Bitcoin. So we assume you already got your Bitcoin and you were smart about it. If that was the case, you didn't provide your ID to acquire your Bitcoin. If you put it into SamouraiWallet and allowed the wallet just to function by default, you would achieve a good level of privacy. You would, and if you engage, especially in the functionality of Whirlpool and some of our other premium technologies that we've released and developed, then you can achieve even greater levels of privacy for certain situations.
Okay, that's great. Okay, él dice que, bueno, que primero, cuando uno está desarrollando una aplicación y un producto, pues la prioridad es hacerlo accesible y de uso fácil, ¿no? Él comenta que la prioridad es hacer la privacidad por defecto, ¿no? Que la privacidad, usando la wallet ya usted tiene un nivel de privacidad por defecto. O sea, no hay ninguna forma, dice que no hay una forma de decir privacidad para dummies, para tontos, no hay una regla, porque la privacidad es un camino, es una autopista muy, muy grande y quizás usted se puede tropezar en ella, ¿no? Ellos asumen que el usuario de SamouraiWallet ya tiene Bitcoin, sencillamente, ya tiene Bitcoin y pues lo va a usar la herramienta, la aplicación, en este caso la wallet, Samourai, y va a obtener un grado de privacidad a través de su uso. Tiene otras propiedades como Whirlpool y todas las otras cosas que ellos ofrecen. Pero él dice que su prioridad es esa. A ellos no les están desligados de todo el contexto de dinero fiat, porque ellos quieren evitar al máximo tener que lidiar con algún regulador o una jurisdicción o exacto, algún juicio legal. Ellos están todos en Bitcoin, no tienen nada, ni piensan tener relación con dinero fiat ahí. O sea, prácticamente es una wallet muy Bitcoiner, ¿no? Grande.
Yes, and one of the things that the design make match with this is the Samourai team removed the fiat parity between Sats and fiat, so they only show Sats. It's a really Bitcoin only wallet. And ahora justamente estaba comentando que tienen esta idea de haber eliminado cualquier referencia a fiat y que el monedero solamente muestra las referencias en Satoshi. Ahora le voy a preguntar un poco sobre las herramientas para utilizar el monedero fuera de línea, que es algo súper interesante acá en Venezuela. Let's talk a little about offline mode, Samourai, because this is a really useful tool here. I said to you that I have a shitty connection, but this is a common thing amongst Venezuelan Bitcoiners, and you have this offline mode in the wallet. Do you have connectivity issues, or why do you decide to build this
Good question. No, my connectivity is fine for the most part. My interest in building this is twofold, or maybe even threefold. I think one is just interesting, right? It's just interesting on a general level that you're able to transfer value with Bitcoin in an offline environment, without the use of the internet. And that as a concept is interesting as a starting point, because then you can say, your mind can wander and create all sorts of scenarios, right? Well, okay, what if your government is really oppressive and then shuts down the internet? Okay, well, there's still a route around that, right? Because of course you always have cash that you can rely on, and cash is king. But this is taking Bitcoin a step closer to cash, to dollar bills, that don't require the internet to function. That's just interesting. The second thing is Samourai always had a large user base in Venezuela and in Brazil and in various countries in the Middle East where connectivity just isn't that great, and is subject to frequent dropouts. So what we wanted to do is kind of address that for those actual users, because we could, but also explore the censorship resistance aspect of offline mode. So what we have in offline mode right now is very, very basic, but what we're working on and should be released I think it's the next update or the update after next, I don't remember because we have so many queued, is a full PSBT based offline mode where you'll be able to never take the phone online and use a Sentinel that is online to do a lot of cool things, or your cold card or Electrum or whatever else you want to do. So we have a really nice offline mode upgrade coming soon.
Ok. Bueno, la pregunta es sobre el modo offline. La puse en español en el chat. Bueno, disculpe que no es perfecto. Aquí estamos haciendo lo mejor, Javier y yo, ¿no? Bueno, aquí él dice que prácticamente lo hace porque lo decidieron hacer porque es interesante, ¿no? Que es interesante tener la opción de poder hacer transacciones offline, ¿no? Y que combinado con Bitcoin, pues provee cierta resistencia a la censura, ¿no? Por otro lado, él dice que a ellos les parece muy interesante, ellos tienen muy buena conectividad donde están, no tienen problemas la mayoría del tiempo y simplemente lo están haciendo es para potenciar el uso de Bitcoin, y en este caso mencionó muy importante que ellos consideran que tienen un grupo bastante de usuarios, grande de usuarios en Venezuela y Brasil, nombró. Y dice que, bueno, sabe que la situación en este caso, hablemos de Venezuela, ¿no? Específicamente Venezuela, de la situación política bajo un régimen, y que creen que proveer este modo de fuera de línea, pues es una gran propiedad para los usuarios allí. Él dice que esto va a cambiar, dice que está en una etapa temprana, dice que lo que ofrecen es muy básico, ¿no? En cuanto a hacer transferencias en modo fuera de línea. Dice que que no recuerdo ahorita cuándo, pero está en las próximas actualizaciones de la billetera, ir casi prácticamente a un modo total fuera de línea y poder transferir Bitcoin e interactuar con la wallet, ¿no? Es lo que dice básicamente, ¿no?
Sí, porque además esa pregunta es específica en el caso venezolano, porque obviamente acá, a pesar de que no vayan a pensar que es que no se puede usar WhatsApp, siempre descontextualizaron eso que yo dije en el podcast de Peter, pero como hay problemas de conectividad, incluso yo voy a compartir en la descripción del video una nota que publicamos en el blog de Satoshi en Venezuela, en donde Peter Horold nos cuenta cómo utiliza este modo offline, cómo se firman las transacciones en un caso de uso de la vida real, un caso que le pasó a él. But Samourai, let's go back to the privacy tools. Ahora le voy a preguntar otra vez sobre las herramientas de privacidad, pero particularmente sobre Whirlpool, que es la implementación de CoinJoin de SamouraiWallet. Let's go back to the privacy tools and please tell us about Whirlpool. That is the CoinJoin implementation that Samourai built inside the wallet that is really smooth because it's mobile. So can you share some stats to know how this has been taken and any comments that you have in the process of first developing this and then releasing the tool to the streets?
Yeah, good question. So, okay, first, I guess, stats-wise, I knew you were going to ask me this, so I looked it up before the call. As of an hour or two ago, there have been 35,000 Whirlpool mixes for 2020. So for the first 6 months, I guess, which is pretty good. And that is currently there's over 1,100 Bitcoin in unspent mixed outputs in the wild. So they could either be remixing or anything like that. So it's about $10.5 million today's price. So that's a fairly good stat as well. I wasn't expecting it to be so popular so quickly, but that's good. Now on developing it, it's a good question because most people don't think about it that way. Most people think, that these features arrive finished. They arrive in an update finished, and it's very far from the case. Whirlpool, we have been thinking about in some capacity since we started Samourai in 2015. And every feature in SamouraiWallet that has come throughout the years, we have built like a bricklayer, build brick by brick, right? So you need the bottom brick before you can build the top brick. Put the top brick on top. Each component of SamouraiWallet fits in somehow. So without Stonewall, which is one of our first ever special transactions that breaks the links, without it being a mix, but it looks like a mix. We developed that in 2015. That is kind of the building block for where everything else has come from. So it's been a long time coming. We released it on mobile this year in I think the end of February, and it's been great. There's still there's plenty to do still to make it even better, especially on mobile, because as you know, there's a lot of limitations on what you can do on mobile versus a desktop app. But with time, I think it's going to be even smoother and even better. As for the mixing, there's no better mixing platform out there right now. That's just indisputable fact. I'm not saying it because I'm SamouraiWallet. I'm saying it because this is stuff you can quantify. You can look at a transaction. You can determine the number of links between inputs and outputs, and you can score them based on these things. So a good mix from a bad mix, and not only is Whirlpool mixing good mixing, it's perfect mixing. There are no links, and it's the only platform out there currently that can offer that.
Okay, that's great. Okay, él dice que, bueno, que la acción de Whirlpool, pues este año que fueron para la aplicación móvil, pues ha sido muy bien adoptada. Si no me equivoco, le oí que 35.000 mezclas han sucedido y alrededor de 1.100 bitcoins están, o sea, los UTXO que se han creado de estas mix, de estos Whirlpool, son alrededor de 1.100 bitcoins, ¿no? Que esos UTXO fueron creados así, ¿no? Él dice que construir o desarrollar una aplicación o una propiedad, en este caso, hablando específicamente de la coin, del tipo de coin join Whirlpool, ¿no? Él dice que no hay perfecto, ¿no? Que es como construir un muro de ladrillos, ¿no? Cada bloque encaja y permite que algo suceda. Dice que la primera aplicación, que fue Stoneway, que no es un CoinJoy, sino que es un tipo de transacción colaborativa especial que rompe como que despedaza la forma que se puede espiar en la blockchain, forma parte y es vital de lo que es hoy en día Whirlpool. Él dice que ellos son la aplicación y la wallet con mejor servicio de mixing de Bitcoin, que está demostrado por las estadísticas, por, bueno, que todo esa es la propiedad que nos brinda la blockchain, ¿no? De Bitcoin, que todo es abierto, se puede ver y que está demostrado y lo pueden revisar las estadísticas, que es la mejor protocolo de mixing que existe actualmente. No lo dice él porque dice, no lo digo yo porque sea de Samourai, pero está comprobado en las estadísticas que no deja vinculación y no deja rastro. Hay dos cosas prioridades. O sea, una cosa es mezclar y que se rompa el vínculo del pasado, pero otras cosas es que usted sepa que esos bitcoins han sido mezclados. Entonces, SamouraiWallet es el tope en eso, en las estadísticas, ¿no? Y que, bueno, prácticamente es eso. Fantástica la respuesta.
Ahora voy a tomar una pregunta que nos deja en el chat Hedy Wook, porque aprovechando que está conectado con este tema, vamos a lanzarla de una vez, que es sobre Stonewall. We have a question in the live comments for, I suppose, an Samurai user, because he have a paintings picture, and he asked, which is the best practice to make an stone wall, if it is with friends, or if it is a bad practice to make a stone wall X2 with the same UTXO's collaborators. I think that he's trying to see which is the best way to do these Stonewall X2 collaborative transactions.
Cool. Yeah, I love these. So for your listeners who don't know, the collaborative transactions, Stonewall X2, and we have another one called Stowaway. These are miniature coin joins. These are two-party coin joins, and it's actually good practice to use a trusted friend as a collaborator. So I think it's actually preferable than to use random people as collaborators. So I think it's okay to answer that specific question. I think it's okay. Because what really the most important thing of doing one of these transactions, what you're getting out of it is you're leaving a very big question mark on the blockchain. You're leaving actually two very big question marks. The first very big question mark is the percentage of linkage between inputs and outputs, right? With either one of our collaborative transactions, it's not 100%. It's less than that. So you can't be certain who sent what. So that's the first question mark. The second question mark is kind of more broad, and it's a question mark on the blockchain as to how many people are involved in this transaction. Is it one person or is it two people? And there's no possible way of knowing that as a outside actor looking in to the blockchain from this transaction. The only way you know that is if you were a collaborator of the transaction. And that's why I say it's actually good to use collaborators that you trust someone. Like, you don't need to trust them because you're not to steal, because there's no stealing ability going on there. You just have to trust them to know that they are a collaborator in this transaction, if you understand.
Ok, él dice que, bueno, aquí va a estar esto complicado, pero bueno, él dice que él tiene Stonewall y Stowaway, ¿no? Dice que con Stonewall él prácticamente dice que es una forma de hacer transacciones colaborativas y que está bien y que es preferible inclusive hacerlo con un amigo, con una parte desconocida, ¿no? Conocida. Él básicamente dice que cuando hacen una Stonewall deja dos grandes preguntas en la blockchain, prácticamente. Una es el porcentaje en la relación de input y output. Es imposible determinarlos, no es perfecto, no es 100%, él dice que es imposible determinarlo. Y otra es quiénes fueron las partes involucradas en esa transacción. Las únicas personas que saben que quiénes son las partes voluntarias, como dicen, en esa transacción, la única forma de saberlo es que usted sea uno de los participantes. Él básicamente dice que es sí, respondiendo a la pregunta estrictamente, dice que sí, es preferible, si usted puede hacerlo con un amigo, es mejor que con una parte desconocida, prácticamente es lo que dice, ¿no?
Ok, ahora voy a preguntar otra vez sobre Whirlpool y las diferencias
Ok.
con otras implementaciones de Whirlpool, para ver cómo eso que nos decía Samourai de que es la implementación más limpia, cómo se entiende en castellano, en cristiano, y también preguntarle sobre el parecido de Stowaway con el diseño de CoinSwap, que es una herramienta que lanzó una implementación que puede estar hecha en 9 meses, Chris Belcher hace poco, entonces para preguntar ahí, porque por ahí hubo un comentario de que esto ya existía, que ya se parece, entonces para conocer las impresiones de él directamente. Okay, Samourai, and again, with the Whirlpool and the CoinJoin implementations, I want you to spot the similarities and difference between all other implementations, and also if you can unpack a little this think about the stowaway and its similarities with CoinSwap that was mentioned in some Twitter threads, and your thoughts on these two topics will be great to listen.
Well, like I said already, regarding Whirlpool, there is nothing else like it in the marketplace right now. It's the only mixing service to provide 100% perfect entropy mixes, meaning there's no link between input and output. There's no link on the input side or the output side of a Whirlpool mix, and it has a very strong architecture around it on the post mix side with the tools you mentioned. So the post mix is what you do after you mix, because mixing doesn't just solve everything. Presumably you need to spend at some point, and you theoretically can mess up what you did by mixing if you don't spend carefully or your wallet doesn't spend carefully. So on that end, Whirlpool is the only one that offers that kind of complete solution. The other mixing clients, like Join Market, is old. It's like 5 years old now, and it was good 5 years ago, and now it's aged and it needs to be updated. And it's difficult for people to hear that, and it's difficult for people to understand. I'm not attacking it. I'm just saying there are structural problems in the mixes. And we published a whole paper about it and made the paper free. Wasabi is a different story. Wasabi, the mixing is just very bad. There's no other way around it. And they don't have the excuse of age because it's new. But the mixing isn't true mixing, and you're largely mixing with yourself when you mix with Wasabi, and a very few participants. There's no post mix spending or anything like that. So there's so many differences that there's too many to list, basically. But what's the most important part is what information is left on the blockchain, because that is permanent and that will never go away. And that could be 10 years down the line, someone looking at that and trying to put connections together. So what is left on the blockchain? And if it's not 100% no link, zero links, then it's not good mixing. And that's our position on it. It's really that simple.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Él dice...
And good luck translating it.
No, it's hard because I understand everything, but for me it's hard because I learn everything in Bitcoin in English, and I have to learn now in Spanish. It's another shit. Well, but I will do my best. O sea, él dice que básicamente, o sea, primero abrió remarcando que Whirlpool es lo mejor que existe. Es lo mejor que existe. Él dice que es lo mejor que existe para mezclar sus monedas, ¿no? Para mezclar sus monedas, pero no hay una solución única, no hay un santo grial en esto, ¿no? Pero que Whirlpool es lo mejor que existe. Dice, hay una historia primero. Hay una historia. Primero usted mezcla sus monedas y después usted, ¿qué hace con sus monedas? Es otro tema aparte, porque en algún punto usted va a tener que gastar lo que mezcló. No, o sea, bueno, sí, hay mucha gente que no gasta, pero en algún punto usted va a tener, él dice, lo mejor que existe ahorita es Whirlpool, es lo que ellos ofrecen, ¿no? Dice, por otro lado, los mercados conjuntos, pues están viejos, ya tienen que actualizarse. Por la edad, pues, o sea, de que apareció en 2015, por allá. Dice que el tema de WasabiWallet es otra cosa. Dice que WasabiWallet prácticamente está roto por diseño. No es ni siquiera viejo, sino que WasabiWallet prácticamente usted está mezclando lo suyo con lo mismo. O sea, él dice que eso es otra historia. Prácticamente no quiere atacarlos ni nada. Ellos hicieron un análisis, hicieron un paper, o sea, hicieron un estudio y todo, lo hicieron gratis, lo publicaron y ahí está. Simplemente WasabiWallet estoy diciendo lo que él está diciendo, literalmente está roto por diseño, simplemente, ¿no? Ahora, él dice, el punto en esto es que tenemos que tener presente que lo que se escribe en la blockchain queda registrado permanentemente. Entonces, si usted se inviscuye en un mal mixing y después gasta, entonces recuerde que eso va a estar grabado en la blockchain, vamos a decirlo de una manera permanente, inmutable, ¿no? Bueno, prácticamente eso fue lo que dijo. Estoy haciendo lo mejor posible. Después digo que tuviera suerte traduciendo esto. Pero
Aníbal,
bueno,
excelente.
divertido.
Excelente y gracias porque estamos haciendo la tarea aquí conjunta en vivo de traducir para, bueno, nuestra audiencia que es principalmente en español. Gracias Aníbal por esta titánica labor. Ahorita vamos a cambiar después de la pregunta que ya sabes que es sobre la personal, qué tal que ibas a hacer. A partir de ahí cambiamos y yo voy a ir traduciendo. Ahora vamos a tomar otra pregunta que está en los comentarios, que también tiene que ver con Whirlpool, y así podemos cerrar el tema de Whirlpool de una vez. Samourai, what are your views on multi-party TX zeros that are the TX that left when you joining Whirlpool? And are there any plans on the horizons for this?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Active development. So multi-party TX0 is actively being developed right now. Uh-huh. It's an important part of our plans going forward. Yeah. This pollutes the entire concept of leaving a trail in TX0. Because you will no longer be able to reliably determine if any TX0 from that date we launched that is one person or multiple people. And with that comes certain challenges as well. Again, anything you do on the blockchain, you has to be looked at very carefully and thought about very carefully, because you may be doing something without realizing. You may be leaving a crumb without realizing it by trying to do something good, like a multi-party TX0. So a lot of research has gone into it, handling change outputs, handling different things. It's soon, very soon. I think you should translate that, and then I think I need to finish answering your previous question.
Thank you. Okay. Él dice que con el tema de los TX cero multipartes, que están activamente desarrollando en eso y que eso lo van a solventar, ¿no? Dice que, obvio, que puede contaminar toda una transacción, ¿no? Que están activamente, y dice que pronto van a tener una respuesta para eso, ¿no? Una mejora para eso, pero que hace mucho empeño en que está activamente en desarrollo, ¿no? Lo que significa el TXO multiparte, lo que implica, ¿no? Obviamente eso. Okay, you can go on, Samourai.
Yeah. So Javier, you asked me in the previous question also about CoinSwap and Stowaway. It's actually they're not alike. Well, they're not very alike. CoinSwap is entirely different. It's a new proposal from Belcher, and it seems like a good proposal in terms of the privacy benefits. It's still very early on, but it looks promising, and we're happy to see any development on that kind of front. What Stowaway is very similar to is we lost Javier. What Stowaway is very similar to is PayJoin from which was recently released in BitPay, or sorry, BTC Pay. And the difference between Stowaway and PayJoin is PayJoin, for the most part, or pay to endpoint, is literally that you're paying to a merchant or someone like that. Whereas Stowaway is more of a peer-to-peer idea. You're paying your friend at the bar, or you need to reimburse someone who you know, and you do a Stowaway because it adds some confusion to the blockchain, and it's a mix. And why not? So it's very close in what it's doing, which is swapping UTXOs. It is swapping coins. Theoretically, actually by name, it is a coin swap. But it's not the same as the coin swap implementation that has been proposed. It's similar to pay to endpoint.
Okay.
But it was released in 2018, I think. So Samurai users have been doing these transactions for a long time now. And it's only going to get better. We have some stuff coming down the line that you won't have to do in-person QR code scanning anymore. It will be a very seamless process, so it will be smoother and easier, but still peer-to-peer.
Ok, great. Ok, primero comenzó hablando de CoinSwap, Stowaway, ¿no? Estábamos hablando de Stowaway, no Stonewall. Una diferencia, ¿no? Stowaway dice que no se parece mucho, pero CoinSwap, que prácticamente fue recién lanzada, o sea, la propuesta dice que parece muy prometedora y ellos están atentos, ¿no? Están atentos acerca de eso. Por otro lado, él dice que habló de Pay to M, es una PayJoin, ¿no? En cuanto a Stowaway, la comparación dice que son diferentes, porque lo que lanzó BTC Pay Server fue la PayJoin o Pay to Endpoint, creo que se llama el nombre por técnico. Dice que está más relacionado cuando usted hace una transacción y paga a un comercio, ¿no? A cambio, Stowaway es más dedicada a un peer-to-peer, ¿no? No necesariamente tiene que usted estar transando con un comercio, sino que usted puede swap los UTXO, los puede intercambiar, pero indistintamente con otro peer, no necesariamente un comercio como está más dedicado pay to endpoint, que se llama, ¿no? Él dice que, por otro lado, Stowaway, bueno, sí, dedicado a eso. ¿Qué más se me fue? A ver, son muy largas, se me van. No, básicamente, eso es lo que dijo. Bueno, seguimos. Javier está teniendo problemas de conectividad, pero volverá, ¿no?
Aquí estoy otra vez. Sí, ok.
Perfect.
Lo que pasa es que, bueno, ustedes saben que estamos hablando de modo offline. No puedo no irme offline si estaba preguntando por eso.
Yes. That is a good one.
This is the shitty internet here. That's why we need Chat.io connected with SamouraiWallet as app. And this is also kind of a joke, but because I know the answers, but it's also a way to have your opinions in this. When you will launch an iOS version of SamouraiWallet, and also when you will include a Lightning Network support in the wallet?
I wouldn't hold my breath for either. I would think. I think iOS is more likely than Lightning. Well, no, I know it's more likely than Lightning. Lightning is a dead end. We're not implementing it. You know that. You knew the answer already.
Yeah.
But it needs. It's a dead end. We don't see Bitcoin going that direction, needing it, and what's there is not really. It hasn't proven itself to us. So it does certain things very well. It's just those things are not of interest to us. And iOS, that's a long story. Just suffice it to say that none of us are all that excited about iOS. We don't have iPhones. We never really have. And it's a real pain in the ass to do it. The developers are expensive. They charge a lot of money. They don't want to work for free or limited salary like the rest of us. And I don't blame them, but we're doing this from passion, and it's hard to find that who have the skill set that we need, which is a very high level skill set. These guys they're expensive, and we can't justify that cost. There's a lot of question marks about iOS and whatnot. So we have to be focused. And anyway, iPhone usage as a global percentage is low. Android is where it's at. The world uses Android. So we might as well be where the world is.
Great. That's great. Ok, él dice, bueno, no, ahí tiene la pregunta que es como un tema de broma, ¿no? Dice que si queríamos escucharlo de parte de Samourai, que cuando una versión para iOS, para iPhone, y cuando el Lightning Network, ¿no? Él dice que bueno, que no tiene que pensar mucho para responder. Dice que bueno, con Lightning Network definitivamente no lo van a implementar, no creen que Bitcoin tenga esa dirección, simplemente no les interesa, pues, y prefieren dedicarse a otra cosa. Con iOS dice que bueno, que ha sido un pain in the ass, en español diríamos, pues una ladilla en Venezuela, ha sido un dolor de cabeza porque lo que sucede con los desarrolladores de iOS que necesitan para este tipo de aplicaciones que tienen que saber tener ciertas habilidades y un conjunto de habilidades con un nivel bastante técnico, dice que esos desarrolladores normalmente los costos son mucho más altos que un desarrollador quizás de Android, ¿no? Y dice que, bueno, que los entienden, pero que ellos ahorita no pueden afrontar esos gastos y que, por otro lado, ninguno de ellos, de los involucrados en el team de SamouraiWallet, tiene dispositivos iPhone y que, bueno, que sí lo han pensado, pero realmente no pueden hacer ese gasto y se convirtió en un dolor de cabeza y realmente, pues, ellos están donde está la gente. Y hoy en día en el mundo la estadística dice que la gente está usando más Android prácticamente y que bueno, que no pueden tampoco afrontar el gasto por iOS, así que por los momentos no dejo nada claro que no, pero por los momentos no, que algo que sí dice, que dijo Samourai, es muy importante, él dice, nosotros hacemos esto por pasión y tenemos un salario limitado, a veces lo reducimos, a cambio, bueno, contratar a un desarrollador de iOS que dice que son realmente cuestan más dinero que cualquier otro desarrollador, entonces pues ellos en estos momentos no pueden afrontar ese tipo de gastos. Esa sería la respuesta.
Ok. Ahora Aníbal le va a hacer una pregunta a Samourai sobre la diferencia entre privacidad y secreto, o sea, esta diferenciación que existe entre lo que nosotros hacemos en nuestra vida privada, la idea de tener privacidad financiera, y bueno, el secreto como tal. Esta es una pregunta de Aníbal como tal y yo voy a traducir la respuesta de Samourai.
Samourai, I have this question for you. This is a personal point of view, I think that we have to take care of the privacy of our Bitcoin transactions, but we don't have to hide that we are using Bitcoin. There is a difference between privacy and secrecy. What do you think about that? Do you any thought to share with us?
Yeah, I think it's true. I think that there's some group of people that have absolutely no problem with being open and public about using Bitcoin. And I think that especially in the West, like in the U.S. and in Europe, many people have that feeling because that's generally been the case, that you're safe to practice these types of things and be interested in these types of technologies without fear of reprisal. There will be some people who do not want to be so open about it, and I think that's fine too. For each situation, right? I don't see a reason about it, but there is absolutely a difference between secrecy and privacy. Privacy, especially in the context of your money, of your financial transactions, I think is everyone expects it by default, but they don't think about it. I mean, can your employer look into your bank account and see what's going on in there? Can your pastor look into your bank account and see if you've been going to the bar too many times or if you've been going to the strip club? Can your government? Probably.
Can your wife?
Well, that's the next question, right? Can your wife? Now, maybe if you have a joint bank account, then yes.
Yes.
But if you don't, then she can't.
Yeah.
You have to give that up, right? So financial, and that's just for people. Now, for businesses, financial privacy is incredibly important.
Yeah.
You cannot have your competitor looking in at your balance sheet, or especially if you're a private company, right? Now, if you're a public company, it's different. But if you're a private company, you have trade secrets and you have all sorts of stuff where privacy is paramount. And if you do not have privacy, you do not have a business. So privacy is a default, and we have to get rid of this idea that it's about doing bad things, quote unquote, subjectively bad things. It's not about that. It's about taking this transparent ledger where all of our transactions are being recorded and getting to some level of financial privacy that we would expect out of any good money system.
Yes. I couldn't agree more with you, Samourai, because privacy is, I think the base of the principle behind the privacy, the right to privacy, is on that we don't have nothing to share, instead, or we don't have anything to hide. There is a misunderstanding, but for that, the people need to learn by themselves.
Well, that's right, and you said a right to privacy. There is no right to privacy.
Yeah, there is no right to privacy.
There's no right to anything. It's a game to think that. It's not reality.
It's a delusion. Yes,
it's a delusion. You have to anything you want, you have to take it and you have to fight for it. So if you want privacy, you have to go get it, and that's what Samourai is about. It's about building the tools so that when you decide that you want privacy, when you figure it out, because not everyone figures it out at the same time, right? When you figure out that you want privacy, at least there's some tools there to help you achieve it, because it's not going to happen on the base layer by default, unfortunately, but that's the reality. Bitcoin's never going to be private by default. It's never going to be Monero. It's just it's a different thing. So you have to have tools. You have to seek it out.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, go Javier. Are you here or no? I can translate something. Okay, básicamente la pregunta era como, porque Javier está creo que congelado, vamos a ir aquí traduciendo mientras Javier sí se descongela. La pregunta era la diferencia como en privacidad y secreto, ¿no? Y él dice que pues sí, que hay una diferencia, que él pues cree que sí hay una diferencia pero que depende de las personas. Prácticamente hay personas que no tienen ningún problema en hacer público que están usando Bitcoin, pero hay otras personas que sí que quizás no lo hagan, pero que el dinero privado sí es importante, ¿no? Y que es lo que se enfoca vitalmente SamouraiWallet. Él dice, imagínese simplemente en el uso diario, ahora imagínese de las personas, ahora imagínese a nivel de comercio o un nivel empresarial, cómo usted va a permitir que su competidor tenga acceso a su balance de estado de cuenta y lo pueda observar, como su amigo o su empleado o su empleador pueda ver a su estado de cuenta y ver si a través de que usted fue y se tomó unas cervezas y quizá el otro día no fue a trabajar, puedes hacer un análisis estadístico de sus actividades. Bueno, eso pasa hoy en día. Yo le hice una broma y su esposa me dice, claro, y también tu esposa, si tú tienes una cuenta en conjunto con tu esposa, ella puede ver qué estás haciendo tú, qué hiciste con tu dinero. Bueno, por otro lado, hablamos, yo le comenté en el interín de que el principio de privacidad tiene, o el principio, sí, que la privacidad o el derecho a privacidad tiene sus bases en que no tenemos, que no queremos compartir nada en vez de que estamos ocultando algo, que estamos ocultando cosas, ¿no? Él dice que, primero que sí, que totalmente de acuerdo, pero él dice que no hay ningún derecho a privacidad. Y ahí compartimos y comentamos que es una ilusión. Nada no tenemos derecho a nada, es una ilusión que nos han dicho. Tenemos que tomar las cosas por nosotros. No tenemos derecho a privacidad. Si tú no lo tomas por ti, alguien por otra persona lo va a tomar. Aquí hay aquí añadió otra cosa que mientras hablo me acuerdo de las cosas porque tengo que grabar en el disco duro y después dijo, Bitcoin nunca va a ser privado, dijo. Vamos a ser realistas. Tenemos que tener herramientas que nos ayuden a llevar a hacerlo privado. Dicen, Bitcoin nunca va a ser monero, prácticamente, lo digo. Entonces, bueno, eso por ese lado. Aquí que habían varias preguntas claro, ¿no? Porque habían varias preguntas de Monero. Yo sé que es muy relacionado, pues. Entonces, bueno. Javier, are you there? Okay. Let's go with the next question. While Javier is, I don't know, I see Javier is having some trouble with the connection. Okay. Okay, there is a next one, maybe a joke. Oh, I don't know. What are your thoughts on altcoin and side chains and other alternatives?
Well, I'm guessing you can guess what my answer is already. So yeah. I'll start with altcoins. I don't hold altcoins and I don't develop on altcoins or anything like this. Okay. Not because I'm some maximalist or anything like that. One, I'm just mostly interested in Bitcoin, and I have enough things going on with SamouraiWallet as a Bitcoin wallet than adding in other altcoins or anything like that. I don't see, I look for usage, and there's no usage in these things, Now there is, I look at Monero, I watch Monero, and I watch the usage of Monero within the darknet markets. And this to me is very important to keep an eye on. And it's gaining traction, it's gaining usage, and it's taking that away from Bitcoin, obviously. And to us, this is something that needs to be kept an eye on. We need to keep an eye on this, because that's the streets. If you want a virtual version of the streets, I mean, shit, it's the darknet markets, right? How much more street can you get?
Yes. I like the answer. Yeah, I'm going to translate something because it's quite interesting.
Sure.
Él dijo primero, creo que tú sabes mi respuesta, ¿no? No tengo tiempo prácticamente para las altcoins, no las estoy viendo, creo que no hay ningún uso en ellas, realmente estoy muy ocupado. Dice, no porque sea maximalista en realidad, está dando muy buenas respuestas, muy sinceras, ¿no? Se le siente, y dice que no porque sea maximalista, sino que porque no tiene tiempo y no ve usabilidad, y ¿para qué le va a dedicar tiempo a algo que no le ve futuro usabilidad? Aquí comentó algo, dice, Monero, estoy viendo Monero, lo observo, que lo está observando y observa cómo es el comportamiento y la transabilidad de Monero. Lo observa en el darknet, en el dark web. Dice que Monero cada vez agarra más tracción en el dark web y que bueno, que es algo que tenemos que mirar. Dice, como los bitcoiners o los desarrolladores de Bitcoin, él dice que tenemos que mirar porque Monero está cogiendo tracción y bueno, hay cosas interesantes. Él dice que lo observa y lo observa cómo es transado y usado en la dark web. Dice que inclusive como que le ha robado un poco de terreno a Bitcoin, ¿no? En ese tema. Interesante eso por allí. Yes. Amén. Thanks for the answer.
Okay.
Sure, but I'll finish on
okay.
I guess there was more on it.
Yeah.
So on side chains.
Side chains, yes.
I don't really have an opinion one way or the other on the concept of sidechains. I think from a technical standpoint, I think it's a good idea. I don't know of any sidechains like that I would describe as a sidechain in production. I know that Blockstream has their liquid thing. I don't know that that's a sidechain per se. It's a federation of a consortium with a blockchain. That's true. It's not like a drive chain though. So I just haven't seen anything there that's interesting.
Okay.
And yeah, regarding liquid in itself, it's not that it's not cool, because it is cool what they've built with the deploying confidential transactions, and as a testbed and seeing how this stuff works, it's cool, but it's not interesting from any sort of privacy perspective because it's a federation. It just takes one guy to say, no, I don't want to release that. And then, what happens then? It hasn't been tested, but these are regulated entities. They're not going to risk anything. So it's just, I'm not saying it's bad or it shouldn't be worked on or anything like that, which people always accuse me of. It's not that at all.
Yeah.
It's just not, as a Bitcoin project, it's not interesting to me. As soon as custody is involved or any sort of guardian who has to say yes or no, not interesting.
I think I got your point, because it's like it's more than the usual. It's boring, I think like it's not interesting, but yeah, it's more of the thing, that we have. Yeah. Él dice que de las ya respondimos las altcoins, vamos a la sidechain. Dice la sidechain, que prácticamente igual que las altcoins. Dice que él no le interesa mucho, ¿no? Que pues es un consorcio federado que tiene que validar las transacciones, todo lo que sucede, que sí, que tienen confidential transactions, pero que en realidad solamente le puede tomar a una entidad censurar una transacción, ¿no? Porque ellos tienen compromisos, ellos están regulados prácticamente, ¿no? Que no es que no sea malo, no sea bueno, sino que realmente para él es aburrido. No le interesa, que cree que a Bitcoin no le ofrece nada adicional, ¿no? Yo le comenté que, que es como que más de lo mismo, ¿no? Prácticamente dice que sí, que es como que más de lo que hemos tenido siempre a través de todos los sistemas financieros, ¿no? Pero básicamente pero remarca, no es que sea malo, no funciona, sino que a él no le interesa, ¿no? Cree que hay más cosas más interesantes, más relevantes que desarrollar y enaltecer en Bitcoin que un consorcio federado. Okay, Javier, you are live.
Okay, yeah, we are almost finishing Samourai, and again, thanks for joining us today. And I want to ask about the polemic that is always around the project. As I said in the very first moment in the beginning of this conversation, I'm a user, I'm a supporter of Samourai, and I think that there are too much shit on Samourai, and I don't think that you deserve that. And I really don't understand that, but I want to know your thoughts on this, because I know that you also have your knife when it's up to answer, and I think that is justified, but I want to know your thoughts on this polemic around the red wallet wrong and wrong.
I've thought a lot about it, because I've had the same question myself. And I can't answer you for certain, because what drives people, you can only speculate. I think that there's two problems. One, that there exists and there has existed for a long time, and it's true of any community. It's not specific to Bitcoin. It's true of any subculture or any sort of community. There exists a hierarchy, and it when Samourai started and as we continued in development, we've never asked for permission or never respected the hierarchy, right? If someone like, for example, Luke Dash Jr. says, this sucks because of this, and we look at it and we disagree, then we'll disagree. We won't kiss ass. We'll tell them why we disagree. And worse than disagreeing is disregarding. And that's the problem. We've disregarded the blessing of some of these people years ago, and we still pay for it to this day. At the end of the day, Javier, I know it looks like there's a lot of this negativity around SamouraiWallet, but two things on that. One, no one can ever actually point to anything other than maybe a tweet of me being kind of mean to them. You know, maybe. Out of context, definitely, but maybe in context, not so mean. That's all they got. You know, as for what actually matters, there's nothing there. And I think that's interesting because you know they've been looking for something. Something has to be wrong. We got to get him on something. And if all you can get is you were mean to me in a tweet, then all right, I'll take that. You know, at the end of the day, that's not that many people. Twitter, the Bitcoin Twitter community is small. You know, there are way more people who are not tweeting, who are watching, who aren't even on Twitter, who are trying to use Bitcoin, who use SamouraiWallet. You have all these people, they don't even know about any of this bullshit that's going on. All they know is there's a wallet that has been delivering constant updates since 2015, is self-funded, and funded by individual investors. You know, these are just users who have come to us and said, we love the project and we want to be a part of it. We want to help you somehow. And these are the guys that have made this possible. You know, this is as grassroots as it gets. And, you know, the results speak for itself.
Okay, Samourai, I'm going to translate something because I think it's quite important that you have to say. Okay, él dice que prácticamente, bueno, sí, que él no tiene ni una respuesta él mismo para toda la toxicidad y todo lo que, a veces la polémica en cuanto a Samourai, ¿no? Él dice que él cree que por una cosa, ¿no? Él dice que en todas las comunidades siempre hay jerarquía, ¿no? Y que desde que ellos comenzaron, ellos no pidieron permiso. No le pidieron permiso a nadie y no besaron los culos de otros, para empezar, ¿no? Y menos convinieron con alguna de las entidades, quizás con una de las entidades relevantes en el ecosistema para cuando ellos comenzaron en el 2015. Él dice un ejemplo, que si Luke Dash Jr. decía ta sobre la wallet, a ellos no le importaba. Pero hay algo más importante que no acordar o convenir con la jerarquía reinante, dice, o sea, que puede haber en la comunidad, es que ellos fueron totalmente indiferentes y eso a la gente le dolió. Entonces fueron indiferentes con ellos y dice que prácticamente que por un tweet o algo en la comunidad, que sí, bueno, que puede ser un tweet malvado contra ellos, pero él dice que la comunidad en Twitter realmente es muy pequeña. Es muy pequeña, no representa la realidad de Bitcoin. Hay mucha gente involucrada usando su producto y que en realidad ni siquiera están en Bitcoin, ni siquiera están en Twitter, perdón, no conocen la comunidad ni saben que esto está sucediendo. Él dice que simplemente ellos comenzaron en el 2015, fueron autofinanciados por usuarios, inclusive usuarios que los conocieron. Esto es fascinante realmente, que los conocieron y le dijeron, nos encanta tu proyecto, te vamos a financiar. Y bueno, que el resultado está hoy aquí, que la toxicidad y las cosas, dice que siempre hay, él sabe que hay gente buscando cosas, están buscando cosas para quizás encontrar algo en contra de ellos, pero que no lo han podido encontrar, sencillamente, pues, y que realmente ellos les importa lo que le importa bola o culo lo que piensen los otros realmente, que la indiferencia y lo demás, ellos dicen que sus resultados hablan más por ellos, prácticamente. Are you okay, Javier? Are you there? Yes. Okay. Let me see if there is another question, Samourai. To answer this appeal. Okay, there is the last question. How do you see the future of Bitcoin in terms of privacy?
Well, like I said earlier, I don't see us getting privacy techniques at the protocol level,
Okay.
or very significant privacy techniques at the protocol level at this point. I would like to see it, but I don't think it's a reality right now, or in the future. And I think as time goes on, it's less likely. So that's not to say that I have negative feelings because of that. I think it just means that developers like us need to build the apps to achieve that level of privacy. And so it's actually a decent opportunity for companies like Samourai and other privacy focused companies to provide in their products what consumers will be asking for in larger numbers. I think the issue is that there's just not many companies that recognize that there's an opportunity there, and that privacy is actually an in demand sector, and that there aren't a lot of people filling that void. And if it's not going to be default level, then someone needs to offer those services, and doing so in a way that's non-custodial, and doing so in a way that is either trust minimized or entirely trustless. Like, so for example, using Samourai default servers or using Dojo, you still get the same result, but one, you're trusting Samourai with your public keys, and the other, you're trusting no one except for yourself, right? Making it available as broadly as possible, so anyone, is able to operate and achieve those sorts of things. We need to focus on that sort of stuff. As for, I think it's disappointing that the research that we've put out over the last 6 months, I think we started OXT research at the beginning of the year. First looking at Wasabi, then looking at Join Market, has either been ignored or argued against without any actual argument. It's unfortunate because this type of work is essential to improving the landscape of privacy in any system, not just Bitcoin. In any system, you need people who are looking at things and trying to break things to make things better. And I'm worried about the culture that's being built of denying problems exist because of popularity, or because of I don't know why, but we have to so I think we have to do a better job of looking at things objectively, and accepting that things can break, and it's not about the problem isn't things breaking, it's the response. If you're not trying to fix it, or worse, just denying it's even true, then that's the problem.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more with you. Yes, I really like your point of view. I'm going to translate something for the people.
Sure.
Aquí él dice que prácticamente él no ve que en el protocolo central de Bitcoin en un futuro hayan implementaciones o cambios que lo hagan más privado sustancialmente. Entonces dice que hay un mercado ahí para las aplicaciones, ¿no? Dice que quizás mucha gente en la industria no se ha dado cuenta que hay un mercado ahí para crear herramientas y aplicaciones en base a la privacidad de Bitcoin. Él realmente no cree que la privacidad en Bitcoin no sea alcanzada en el core protocol, como se dice, ¿no? En la capa privada, o sea, que implicaría cambios de consenso y todas esas cosas, ¿no? Él dice que, bueno, que ellos están enfocados en entregar herramientas para los que quieren dinero privado. Por otro lado, ellos dicen que él se siente un poco, ellos empezaron una serie de investigaciones y estudios este año, ¿no? A comienzo, ya dice que son 6 meses desde enero, estudiando como Wasabi Wallet, el Coin Joint Market, el mercado conjunto, y dice que encontraron varios faults, ¿no? Varios bugs y que está roto, ¿no? En algunas cosas, pero que pues, desafortunadamente, y para él dice que ha sido pasado desapercibido y dice que bueno, que él no sabe, que quizás porque hay gente que se debe a su popularidad en el ecosistema y que él dice que no podemos negar las cosas que están mal, que eso no puede suceder, que tenemos que solucionarlas, ¿no? Que para él es un poco decepcionante lo que ha pasado, por ejemplo, que ellos han hecho esas investigaciones, los han hecho públicos y que pues, prácticamente han pasado desapercibidos y la gente no les ha prestado atención y menos han ido a tratar de solucionar. Realmente habla un poco de cuando la gente se debe quizás más a su popularidad y tiene obligación con eso y realmente niega o inclusive lo deja pasar a un lado lo que está mal, lo que está roto, ¿no? Ok, Javier, ¿estás por acá o no? No sé si Javier está aquí. Ok, I think, hello Samourai, I think this is, let me see if Javier is available. Can you hear us, Javier? No, I think, yes, it's come back.
He's trying.
He's trying, yeah, he's trying. No, it's hard for
One final push.
One final push, yes. It's like, I don't know.
No.
Oh, no, he went totally.
It's too much.
Okay, yeah, it's too much. No, well, Samourai, if you want to say something for the audience, if you want to say a final word, I don't know. The mix is all yours. Javier is coming up.
There he is.
And before that, I want to ask something that they are pointing in the live comments about the name. If you can tell us why you choose Samourai as a name, if there is something back there.
So when we were trying to figure out the name of what the project would be, me and TDevD were trying to figure it out, and we were going with the idea of like ninja or samurai or something like that along those lines. And when I mentioned samurai, TDevD wrote it back as spelt Samourai, which is the French spelling of samurai. He didn't realize he did it. He meant to write the English, but he wrote the French one, because he'll sometimes write me in French. He won't remember to write in English. Even though he's a native English speaker and French is a second language. Doesn't make any sense. So we liked it. It just looked cool. And no one else has that name. And, so if you search for it, would be, besides a great movie, Le Samurai, it's a very good movie. And it that has the name, but no other kind of technology thing or definitely not Bitcoin thing. So why not? And I wouldn't change it. Honestly, within the first month of us launching, there was already people giving us shit. And one of the things they were giving us shit about was the spelling of samurai. And it was always white guys who lived in Japan who were offended. So who knows why?
A good story. Él dice que, bueno, que desde un comienzo cuando se reunió con su amigo DT, estaban hablando de qué nombre. Entonces tenían ninja, samourai, algo así, ¿no? Algo por ahí. Y en una conversación dice que DT, el desarrollador, el amigo que es cofundador, le dijo, bueno, Samourai, pero lo deletreó mal, ¿no? Como lo escribe, así no se escribe Samourai, pero esa es la forma como se escribe en francés. Y que él no se dio cuenta, su amigo, y creía que estaba bien escrito en inglés. Y él dice, no, inclusive que ellos el inglés es su lengua nativa y hablan francés, porque a veces hablan entre francés, es como su segunda lengua. Y entonces les pareció jocoso y decidieron, bueno, vamos a ponerlo, ¿no? Vamos a usar ese nombre. Les llamó la atención y bueno, lo dejaron como una anécdota de ellos. Dice que bueno, que sí, que hay gente que le ha lanzado, como dice, mierda al nombre, pero inclusive gente en Japón hasta se ha ofendido, por allá salió alguien, pero que a ellos no le importa. Inclusive que dice que la película es simpática, ¿no? Que llama la atención, una buena película. Pero esa es la historia detrás del nombre. No hay ningún tecnicismo ni nada, no tiene nada que ver con Bitcoin, solamente una cosa muy personal y muy original de ellos, ¿no?
Ok, ya bueno, ya vamos a cerrar.
I
voy
give
a
you one more
comentar.
story if you want.
Okay.
One more
Go
name
ahead.
story.
Yeah.
Of
course.
So about Samurai Dev, I call him TDevD. That's what his name is, on his pseudonym is. So when we were trying to figure out what our pseudonyms would be, because we weren't going to use our identities, we decided that right at the beginning we would just be pseudonymous. He was trying to type to me the Deliberator, which was a character in a very good cypherpunk novel. And instead of being able to write the Deliberator, the Deliberator was a pizza delivery guy who would like speed along in a really fast, and he was also a hacker, but he would like speed along in this really fast car. Instead of writing the Deliberator, he dropped something on his keyboard as he was writing it, and as it came out was TDevD with the caps as they are on Twitter. So we said, you know what? That looks really cool. That's your name. That's how he became TDevD.
Ok, él le está contando la historia de por qué su amigo y el que es cofundador se llama TDevD. Dice que porque también estaban hablando de deliberators, que es algo en el mundo de programación. Y cuando se lo escribió, pues se lo escribió totalmente mal, le escribió eso, ¿no? Y entonces que dijeron, eso, y ya habían hablado que iban a ir totalmente con un seudónimo, no iban a relevar su identidad, y están en medio del proyecto y dijeron, no, bueno, ese va a ser tu nombre, ¿no? Y bueno, una historia graciosa aquí que nos quería comentar Samourai, muy cómica.
Sí, ahora ya sabemos el origen de los nombres de los dos. Ya vamos a cerrar, muchachos. Les voy a comentar un poco las reacciones que han tenido, que han sido en líneas generales bastante positivas. Parece que no es tan tóxico Samourai como pensábamos. Samourai, let's close this because I know that you may have some things to do. And the people in the live comments are thrilled because you are really cool. They say that you may have some beers with some of them and stuff like that. And let's close with.
I would love that. That would be great.
Let's close with a final thought on privacy, on what do you think that we can do to achieve a more private use in Bitcoin. As you said, that Bitcoin will not be private by default. So maybe a final thought on this, on how we can be safe and be private while using Bitcoin, and also where we can find you if we want to know what are you doing, or maybe what are you talking about.
Sure. Well, I kind of answered that already while you were disconnecting, but I'll reiterate with just if you're looking for privacy, and if you're looking at SamouraiWallet, you're likely looking for privacy. Take it slow, do your research, ask questions. Don't take advice from so-called influencers or leaders or anything like that. Do the research yourself, ask questions, go to, talk to your local community, like the guys in your live chat, in your comment section there. And use the stuff, actually use the tools so you can get a feel for them. I think again, when you need it, you'll miss it if it's not there, So one way you could help is support your developers. This costs a lot of time and money to build. It's a free app. The mixing costs a little bit of Bitcoin, but it's really not that much. The features that we do charge for, it's literally to keep the servers running. So use them and support us in that way. We're trying to build a tool set for you guys. So we hope that what we built is fulfilling a need more than just using it as a cold storage that you'll never use and hoping that it's going to go to 100,000 this bull cycle so you can cash out and become rich. Forget all that. Mm-hmm. Think about it as your stash, as your exit strategy, as your private money, because that is so important, and as your cash, and not in the cash as like the Roger Ver Bcash way, as like cold hard dollar bills. Like, how powerful those are. I mean, you in Venezuela, how powerful those are, right? Like, it's not like when I'm talking to you, you get it. When I'm talking to a more Western audience, they don't get it instinctively, right? Because contactless is easy, debit card is easy, this and that. Cash is, kind of a pain in the ass. But if we can make Bitcoin 90% or even 10% as private as cash can be, then we're good. Like, we're really good. And I think we can do that. That's 10% is good enough. We can definitely get there. And it's way more better in so many ways, right? Like, you can send it really quickly, all the ways that we know about why Bitcoin rocks. All of that's cool, but if it's not private and if it's not giving you that layer of acting as your subversive money, then it's really nothing. It's no good.
Yeah, great. Ok, voy a traducir algo. Él dice que prácticamente usen las herramientas, tómenselo con calma, hagan su investigación por ustedes mismos, no crean, no lean y no sigan a las personalidades, los influencers, cualquiera que esté por ahí en la comunidad, ¿no? Haga su propio, infórmese, haga su propia investigación, tómeselo con calma, pero úselo. Hice mucho énfasis en usarlo, ¿no? En usar las herramientas y usar Bitcoin. Dice que úselo, que por otro lado habla de que denle apoyo a los desarrolladores, que bueno, que ellos están pues construyendo todas estas herramientas, pero bueno, hay un trabajo detrás, tiempo, dedicación, costos operativos, que por el lado de lo que ellos cobran, los fees que ellos cobran prácticamente son solamente para que el servicio siga continuando, o sea, se mantenga por sí solo. Él dice que, bueno, tienen que usar la herramienta, familiarizarse. No dice, bueno, sí, si quizás están guardando y pensando en la narrativa de que Bitcoin se va a $100,000, pero que se olviden de eso. Úsenlo como dinero, como cash, como dinero de a diario, ¿no? En cierta forma, ¿no? Que si todo lo que se está haciendo para hacer de alguna forma más a Bitcoin un 90% y después dijo, no, aunque sea un 10%, una forma de dinero más privado que el dinero normal, es bien, súper, tenemos algo mejor. Que usémoslo como cash, no como Bitcoin Cash de Roger Ver. Él dice que para mucha gente en estos países, pues quizás no es tan importante. Y bueno, ahí comparto y sí voy a decir, yo vivo también en el Reino Unido, yo estoy por acá y creo que él está por acá. Y aquí pues todo funciona. El contactless, la debit card, todo, pero en países como Venezuela no. Entonces hay que familiarizarse con la herramienta, tomárselo con calma. Dice que es preferible no extrañarlo porque tenerlo y no extrañarlo cuando lo necesitemos, ¿no? Y dice, úselo y experimente con las herramientas, infórmese usted mismo. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for that. Javier, are you there? Yeah.
Conversation.
Okay, I think Javier.
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect.
And that's it.
Yes, I think.
Today, thanks a lot for all your words about your project, but also about other topics, your opinion. Aníbal, ¿puedes compartir mi pantalla un momento?
Done. Yeah.
Bueno, además, Satoshi en Venezuela nos ha apoyado en la difusión de este evento, igual que de la programación en general de los otros eventos que hemos organizado, para agradecerle. Gracias de nuevo. Thanks a lot and translating, and muchas gracias también a Aníbal por su esfuerzo traduciendo. Y un cuarto encuentro de digitales. Ya va por encima de 20 y muchos ya, y vamos a hacer el lunes.
Okay.
Continuamos sobre el tema de la with Matt Otto on Monday.
Yeah.
I think we lost him.
Yeah, I think we lost them. Yes.
Well, it was really good to be here, and thank you for having me, and I hope we can do it again soon. I very much enjoyed the conversation.
I really enjoyed it too. Thank you, Samourai. It has been a great meeting. The people are happy in the chat. Thank you for being with us. No.
Very happy to be here. Very happy to be here, and I hope to, like I said, I hope to come back soon. And yeah, there you are. See you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Samourai.
See you on Twitter, and see you in the Telegram rooms and wherever else you know where to find us, at SamouraiWallet on Twitter.
Perfect. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.